50% of children are sexually abused. That's 1 out of 2.
What the children don't understand is, first of all, when they upload something on the internet, it is being stored somewhere in some hard drive.
Children and youngsters, especially teenagers, can be groomed either in person or in the online world by a stranger or by someone they know.
And you don't want the information of your children, your photos, things like that, being there on the dark and deep web.
Hi, I'm Tina. I'm the mother of a school-going child. First, let's see who's a child. Anybody who is under the age of 18 is defined as a child, a minor. On completing 18 years of age, he or she becomes an adult, a major. What is child sex abuse? When an adult interacts with a child for their own sexual gratification, it's called child sex abuse. Now, abuse may be perpetrated by an adult or by a bigger and more powerful child. When it comes to child sex abuse, both girls and boys are vulnerable. Child sex abuse is a health and social concern. It's also a crime punishable by law. There are 2 types of child sex abuse. One is contact abuse and the other is non-contact abuse. Next, we'll see non-contact or non-touching behaviors of child sexual abuse. Exhibitionism or flashing or exposing one's genital organs to a child. Having obscene conversations or phone calls or text messages or any kind of digital interaction with a child over a smartphone. Showing pornography to a child, photographing a child in sexual poses, coercing, forcing or encouraging a child to watch or hear sexual acts either in person or on a video through the computer or a phone. Watching a child undress or use the bathroom or a dressing room with sexual intent. An adult exposing their private parts online to a child. Coercing or forcing a child to expose their private parts either by videos or photos online. Coercing or forcing children to view or share other sex abuse images or videos. Producing, owning or sharing pornographic materials involving children. So if a person receives a pornographic image and shares it with another person, it is a crime. And exposing children to sexual acts online and making them watch it. Non-contact abuse also may not necessarily be traumatic or violent while it is happening. For example, a perpetrator may feel the child feel empowered removing their clothes. They make the child feel special, they make the child feel beautiful, they make the child feel needed. So they psychologically play on a young child or teenager's mind, and it may not be traumatic at the time. But later, as the child or teenager understands that what happens was abuse, or worse still, if the images or videos are being shared online, then it is extremely traumatic and psychologically very damaging to the child or teenager in question. We have to remember that anybody under 18 is a child. Contact abuse, also called touching behaviors of abuse. These include fondling a child or sexually touching a child's body in general, not just the private parts, but generally touching a child's body with a sexual intent. It also includes touching a child's private parts. If an adult encourages a child to touch their private parts or each other's private parts, this also includes abuse. If an adult encourages a child to touch their private parts, this is also child sex abuse. Rubbing one's genitals against a child's body with or without clothing, making a child touch someone else's private parts, or playing sexual games like pants down or shirts up or something like that, and kissing a child with a sexual intent or intention and intercourse. Encouraging or forcing a child to masturbate with either the child as a participant or an observer, and we see various other definitions of child sex abuse, including sex trafficking. One thing that needs to be understood about contact abuse is that it's not necessarily violent or traumatic while it is happening. At the time of abuse, it may be pleasurable to the child. It may be similar to tickling. When you tickle a child, it gives the child a pleasurable sensation and the child laughs and enjoys it because the feeling they experience at that time, the physical feeling that they experience makes them happy. It's pleasurable, it gives pleasure. So similarly, child sex abuse may not be always violent and painful. Perpetrators may be able to abuse children without the children feeling trauma at that time. But as they grow older later on and realize that what happened was abuse, then it causes psychological trauma and damage. Now, who is this happening to? And we hear reports on the news and the media about child sex abuse. We think it's happening to somebody somewhere. So, who's this happening to? According to a 2007 study conducted by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, 1 out of every 2 children, that is 50% of children, are sexually abused. That's 1 out of 2. So, it's a huge number. And it may be happening to people within our own circles. Tulir, a Chennai-based NGO along with Save the Children, conducted a study in 2005, and in this they found that 48% of boys and 39% of girls that they interviewed had been abused, and usually the abusers are known to them. We live in a conservative society where speaking about sex is taboo, more so about child sex abuse. So, if we look at these numbers, we have to understand and assume and know that the real numbers are much, much higher than this, because cases will be underreported and unnoticed even. So the real numbers are shocking, appalling, and scary. I hope this video helps in increasing our awareness and keeping our children safe.